Hello, welcome to my student support system. In today's class of child health nursing, we will discuss an important topic that is child labor. This lecture is in English, and if you want to study in Hindi, you can click on I button. You will get link of Hindi lecture, or you can visit my channel, my student support system. Child labor, it is the topic of child health as well as social life. Whenever I use or hear the word child labor, I feel guilty as a human being. We pass by so many children indulging in some work or the other way every day. Some of us who want to justify it come up with the statements like that they are only helping their parents in bringing a stable income. But in fact, it is a black spot on humanity that we are not able to provide a secure, healthy, happy childhood to these children. Child labor is a global phenomenon. It exists both in developing and developed countries, though with a difference in cause and magnitude. A majority of child workforce is in unrecognized sector. Children are working in agriculture fields, shoe polishing, newspaper vendors, helpers in shops, helpers in roadside dhabas, and as household helpers like servants and especially girls. Only a small proportion of working children are in organized sector. What is the definition of child labor? Child labor may be defined as employment of children up to 14 years of age in gainful occupations at the expense of their physical, mental, emotional, and social well being. According to International Labour Organization ILO, the term child labor is often defined as work that deprive children of their childhood, their potential, and their dignity, and that is harmful to the physical and mental development of the child. What are the causes of child labor? First is poverty. It is the main causative factor for child labor. Every member, mainly female children, are victimized by the poverty of the family. The need to support the family by engaging in work, especially as household servants. Due to poverty, families are forced to send their children to work rather than to school. They are made to work to increase the income of their poor families at the earliest. Second is lack of education. It is another causative factor for child labor. The worst sufferers are again the poor families for whom getting their children educated is a dream. Sometimes the lack of affordable schooling for the education of poor children leave them illiterate and helpless. Children are forced to live without studying, and sometimes such compulsion push them into the trap of child labor in India. Next is lack of awareness. The lack of awareness of their rights among children have encouraged child labor. Also, the uneducated parents do not know what the impact of child labor on their children. The condition of poverty and unemployment give rural families a compulsive basis for engaging children in various tasks. Social backwardness. Social backwardness is also a reason for child labor in India. Socially backward parents do not send their children to receive an education. Consequently, their children are trapped in child labor. Due to illiteracy, many times parents are not aware of various information and schemes for child education. Next is social problem. Social problems such as drug addiction, alcoholism also support child labor. In many families, due to alcohol addiction or drug addiction, there is no earning, and the child's wages are the sole mean for family's sustenance. Next is natural disaster. After natural disasters or accidents or diseases and disability or death of the earning member of the family may lead to broken families, orphan children, or street children. To survive in such conditions, the child may shift to child labor. Next is greediness of employers. In the greed of cheap labor, some shopkeepers, companies, and factory owners employ children so that they have to pay less to them, and it amounts to employing cheap labor. Shopkeepers and small businessmen make children work as much as they do to the elder ones, but pay half of the wages or even less. In the case of child labor, there is less chance of theft, greed, or misappropriation of money too. Family tradition. In our society, it is very easy to give the child labor the name of tradition or customs in many families. The cultural and traditional families value play their role in increasing the problem of child labor in India. At the voluntary level, many families believe that a good life is not their destiny, and the age old tradition of labor is the only source of their earning and livelihood. Discrimination between boys and girls. In our society, it is a bitter truth. Many poor families believe that girls are weaker and there is no equal comparison between boys and girls. Considering girls the weaker than boys deprives them of school and education. In laborers' families, girls are found to be engaged in labor along with their parents. Kidnapping and begging gangs. There are some criminals in the society who kidnap children and engage them in child labor or begging for their earning. Even small kids are seen in the laps of some begging gangs to lure people to donate. These children may be kidnapped one. Now we come to the next subtopic, health hazards of child labor. First is physical health hazard. The working children are exposed to adverse environmental conditions such as dust, smoke, lightning, radiation, unsafe and unhygienic conditions. These conditions have very detrimental effect on physical health of the child, and child may develop asthma, skin problems, and even cancer. Drug abuse. Drug addiction, smoking, drinking is common among child laborers as they spend a lot of time in the vicinity of their adult counterparts who may be addicts. This addiction further deteriorates their physical, mental as well as social health. Child may enter in the world of crime for finding drugs after addiction. Accidents and injuries. Incidence of injury while working is much more high among the child laborers as compared to their adult counterparts. The leading cause includes lifting of heavy objects, cuts from broken glass or sharp objects, injury due to falling or slipping, and accidents due to moving parts of a machine. Communicable diseases. Working children live in unhygienic and overcrowded places. They have low immunity and they are at higher risk of developing communicable diseases. Main communicable diseases which are common among child laborers are tuberculosis, hepatitis, skin infections, diarrhea, etc. Sexually transmitted diseases. Working children are exposed to physical abuse as well as sexual abuse. Due to sexual exploitation, they may get sexually transmitted diseases such as syphilis, gonorrhea, genital herpes, chlamydial infection, or even HIV infection. Malnutrition. Working children need good nutritious diet because of physical exertion, but in return they get poor nutrients, sometimes less in amount. This leads to malnutrition, which affect normal growth and development of these children. Child laborers frequently suffer from many deficiency diseases. Poor psychosocial development. Next effect is poor psychosocial development. Restricted social interaction, lack of play and recreation, long working hours have crippling effect on psychosocial development of working children. Due to this, the child may indulge in crime such as theft, smuggling, or even sexual offenses. Now, what we can do for the upliftment of the health of the children or to protect the child from the hazards of child labor? First, we can do as combined or joint responsibility, showing how we can show due to the complex nature of child labor, there is no one strategy that can eliminate it. Combating child labor requires long-term coordinated action which involves many stakeholders and governments. This includes educational institutions, mass media, NGOs, and community-based organizations as well as trade unions and employers. Some NGOs are working uh, effectively against for this, and we should support them. Next is change in social attitude. It is important because nowadays the attitude and mindset of people are changed. They hire children instead of employing adults just for cheap labor. Children, this attitude should be changed. Society must understand that the children are future of the country and allow all children to go to school and have the chance to learn, play, and socialize. Educational reforms. Education is key to preventing child labor and has been one of the most successful methods to reduce child workers in India. This includes expanding education access to schooling, improving the quality and relevance of education, addressing violence in schools, providing relevant vocational training, and using existing system to ensure child workers return to schools. Spreading awareness. Parental awareness of evils of child labor can prevent disruption in schooling and pushing children into labor. Lack of understanding on the part of parents creates situations where traffickers prey upon children and many trafficked children end up in child labor. Aware communities can comprehend and respond to the children issue much more effectively. Legal protection. There are various laws which protect children from child labor, such as The Child Labour Prohibition Act 1986 bans the employment of children below the age of 14 years in many professions, such as domestic labor and in hospitality trade, for example, roadside dhabas, restaurants, hotels, motels, and spas. Under the Convention of Rights of the Child, ratified by India in 1992, all children have the right to be protected from work that are dangerous or that might harm the child's health and education. And the Right to Education Act 2009 ensures all children 6 to 14 years of age have the right to free and compulsory education. By these measures, we can protect the children from child labor hazards. For watching such videos, you can subscribe my channel, My Student Support System, and like my Facebook page, My Student Support System, so that you can get latest updates of videos. And for contents, for making your notes, you visit my blogger, mynursingstudents.blogspot.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join Facebook group Nursing Notes. Thank you. Have a nice day.